Hey, check 1, 2. Check, check, check. Hey, hey, hey. Check 1, 2. All right, so YouTube's a little bit delayed. A bit delayed today. Sorry about that. Okay, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to another live stream. And this, I believe, is our last on the root chakra today. And I wanted to bring in this one element of the root chakra as kind of like a key to opening it, and something that I feel strongly about being clear with. And that is the element of trust. So I'll read a little bit. Trust enables your body to unfold from its cramped position, allows security and calm, and encourages connection, bonding, and exploration. With trust, the survival instinct is satisfied, and where there is a sense of emotional well-being, there is a sense of emotional well-being. If you are confident that the world is a friendly place, you have the same that you you have the sense that you will live. Without trust, your survival feels constantly, whoa. My wife is watching the video upstairs, and it just played on our sound system. My own voice. I was like, where's all that noise coming from? You probably didn't hear that, so sorry about that. Okay. Without trust, your survival feels constantly threatened. And because there is nothing you can do to meet the threat, the anxiety is unbearable. The substance of survival, feeding, holding, warmth, and physical comfort must come from outside of you. Interesting. So talking about family, parents, caretakers, and that's going to be, I don't want to get too deep into that conversation because it's going to sidetrack us. So I want to stay with development of trust as the form of the root chakra, because that's what gives us a sense of safety and security, that we have the right to be here and the world is a good place to be, and that our survival is going to be taken care of. And the reason she brings that up about how outside needs is because the development of the root chakra starts before we can control the outside forces. So our parents provide us with the necessary needs. Our needs are met by our parents. And that being said, if they're not met, then there will be a fundamental feeling that the world is not a safe space. And that's where the anxiety gets taken over. And of course, there are things that we can do to solve that. And one of those is to build trust. So how do we build trust? We talked about the physical body as one of the essential requirements to get connected to the root chakra. The right to be here is root chakra. The physical presence that we in this physical form can be here in this earth, surviving and thriving in our body as we walk around, touching the ground, existing in this human plane with other conscious beings. So the right to be here and alive must be taken care of in the physical form. And this is where Hatha Yoga becomes so important. The thing that I want to bring up is we know this, that if somebody says, hey, trust me, that's like an immediate red flag that we shouldn't trust them. So we know that trust is not something that can just be demanded. We can't demand that we trust the universe. We can't demand that we trust ourselves, and we can't demand that we trust others. Trust is something that is routinely built over time. There's a provenness to it. That's where trust is formed. So what we can control, and this is where I suggest we start, we can control if our body trusts us. And the way that we can control that is by showing up on our mat every time and proving to our body that we will take care of it at the highest level. That rather than listening to the ego that says to do this or that, in order to get that photo or in order to achieve some sort of aesthetic that might potentially make us more friends or followers or whatever, or fulfill that childhood emptiness that says I'm not strong enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not flexible enough, I'm not whatever, that whatever our ego is telling us that we are not enough. If we do the yoga practice from that place, we'll always put our body second. The ego first, body second. Fulfill my emotional need to form an identity before affirming that my physical body is worth taking care of. So let's do the opposite. Let's start from the physical body as something that is worthy to be taken care of. That is something that is, and we can't just say it one time and then your body believes it. You have to show up on your mat every time, because trust is in consistency. Trust happens over the course of a period of time, where if you keep showing up the same way, then that trust will develop between you and your body. And your body, once it starts to develop a trust, then it can move on to the beautiful ability to express itself in the biggest way. So if it doesn't trust you when you step onto your mat, meaning it doesn't trust your ego takes over, then it's always going to hold tension and contraction to try to keep itself safe. It's body, it's body versus ego. And in that place, if that's always going to be the way that you approach your asana practice, then you'll always be tense no matter how many times you step onto your yoga mat, because you're proving to the body that you don't care about it first, right? Now, I know most of you practicing with me and have been practicing with me for a while totally get this and understand this, because you probably wouldn't keep showing up to practice with me if not, because I don't offer a practice that is necessarily just flashy and maybe just beautifully aesthetic. It's always about some micro movement that can't even be seen by others, right? So you can't even necessarily see it on the outside, but you can feel it. Now, that's how I present the practice for myself, and that's how I suggest that we practice. And the result of that practice will be the external expression in time. And so you can kind of satisfy the ego and say, like, hey, listen, in time, we'll get there. But for right now, we're focusing on this. You got to trick the ego sometimes, because it's really, the ego is very strong, and it's been with us a lot longer than our concern for our body. Because why? Well, for most of us, we grew up and the body was infallible. It was totally undamageable, right? Even if you broke a bone, it healed right away. For so many years, the body thrived without us having to pay attention to it. Now that we're older, we have to really care for it. And The ego, on the other hand, has been getting strong since the moment that we, entered into this world and started interacting with other people and trying to form an identity. So the ego is very strong in comparison to our care for our body. So the body needs to learn that we trust, the body needs to develop a trust in us. And in order to do that, we've got to step on our mat consistently and show up in concern for it, to care for it, to love it. And then there can be that mergence of body and mind as one. And of course, we'll reap that benefit, because instead of the body always protecting itself and holding on to rigidity, it's going to want to move and expand and change and grow and shift. And it's going to want to express itself in all different shapes and forms. And it's going to want to do fancy things because it wants to, not because the ego wants to. That's the difference, is that right now in our asana practice, we develop trust by showing up and saying, I care for you, physical body. That is the intention. And this is how we'll kind of close out our last practice with the root chakra, and hope that supports you in kind of understanding what we're doing here. We practice yoga beyond just it makes me feel good, but why? Like deeper than that. We're really connecting to something more powerful, and that is developing that trust between mind and body. And that integration is what makes us feel so good. Okay, so I just have to plug something in over here to make sure our phone doesn't die and such. So come to child's pose, please, while I'm doing that. Knees wide, arms out in front. And get connected first to your breathing. Take an inhale through the nose. And exhale out through the nose. Take this time in your child's pose to affirm to yourself that we put the body first. And that includes, even if, the teacher that you trust, me, asks you to do something, put your body first before me. I will do my best to guide you in the most profound and what I think is the highest quality way I possibly can, but still, I'm not you, and I don't have the sensations of you inside of me. Like, I can only feel my own body. I can feel my muscles, and I can feel what's right for my body. So that said, you have to be both listening to the guidance and at the same time listening to the sensations of your body that's speaking to you. And that's a challenge for most of us, to listen for the guidance and also listen for the feedback. So let's do our best to both learn, grow, and change from all the teachings that have come before us. And at the same time, listen to our experience that we're having right now with the physical body and hear it out. It speaks to us in the form of sensation. Walk the hands over to the left side of the mat. And take a breath into your right side. Let's take one more full breath in here. And out. Let's walk over to the other side, the right side. Lengthen the left side of the body. And take a full breath into the left ribs. And out. One more. And back to center. Place the palms fully on the ground and grip the fingers into the earth to start to ignite your connection from your forearms into your fingers, and even all the way up at the shoulders. Lift the armpits up so your shoulders, your back muscles start to engage. So your connection comes from the shoulders all the way into the finger pads that are gripping into the ground. Now let that strong strength or activation of your forearm muscles all the way through the shoulders. Let's start to move the body. Stay connected to your hands, stay grounded, stay integrated into the earth. As you inhale, come forward, arch, and look up. Exhale, round, move back, child's pose. Inhale, forward, arch, look up. Exhale, back, round, child's. Inhale, forward, arch, look up. Exhale, round, child's pose. Inhale, forward, arch, look up. Lean forward, bend the elbows, lay onto the belly. 3 just tiny cobras to warm up the back muscles. Inhale, lift the heart up, shoulder blades together. Exhale, soften. Again, inhale, lift the heart up, press the pelvis down. Firm up your quads even. Exhale. Let's do one more. And exhale, soften. All fours, hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold here for a couple of breaths. If you feel like bending the knees, you're welcome to. Push the ground away so your thighs go up and back and you get a little deeper of a stretch in the backs of the legs. Lift the heels up, so use your calf muscles to do so. Round your back into plank pose. Come forward and pause. Grip your fingers into the ground. So really strong connection to the earth there. As you grip your fingers into the ground from the heart, push the ground away so you get fuller in the back body. Take a full breath in. Exhale, knees down, come to child's pose. Inhale forward, all fours, tuck the toes and arch the back. Exhale, hips up and back, down dog. Again, let's move. Inhale forward, plank pose, heels come up, round the back as you roll forward. Fingers grip the ground. Knees down, child's pose. Inhale forward, all fours, arch and look up. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Right leg to the sky on the in-breath. Bend knee, open hip as you exhale. Hold here for a breath in. Connect to the sensations of your body. Again, that's how the body communicates to you, through sensation. If we listen, then as the listening grows and becomes consistent, the body begins to trust. Inhale, straighten the leg. Step forward, exhale. Come up onto your fingertips and we take a breath. Exhale it out. Please lift the toes up on the front foot and root from your buttocks down into the heels. Start to warm up the hip muscles. Just like last time, press your big toe down and try to squeeze the big toe mound and heel toward one another to get the arch of the foot to lift. Okay, so you got big toe mound, arch of the foot lifting, then try to press your pinky toe into the ground. Squeeze in side to side with the shins and get lighter in the fingertips from the strength of your legs. Take a full breath and lengthen through the top of your skull. Exhale here, hold.
Let's take one more full breath in. Down dog on the exhalation, step back. Forward plank pose, inhale, roll into it. Chaturanga, as you exhale, you may place the knees down, slide the hands wide. Inhale, round the back a little bit. Soften, chest goes forward into the back bend. Pull the heart through your shoulders, gentle lift. And exhale, release. Same thing 2 more times. Inhale, round to come up. Soften on the exhalation. Pull the heart through and up. And release. One more of the cobras. Inhale, round. Soften. Pull your chest through and up. And release. All fours or plank pose. Exhale, down dog. Left leg to the sky on the in-breath. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Again, our bodies speak to us through the language of sensation. And as the trust develops that we are listening to the sensations of our body, the body will give up its grip and allow us to move, to expand, and to express ourselves. But we must develop that trust first. Straighten the leg on the next breath in. Step forward. Come up onto the fingertips and pause. Take a breath. Exhale it out. Steer the tailbone so it faces straight back behind you, and then root your sit bone down into the heel. Okay, once your fingers get light, lift your front toes up. And press your big toe and pinky toe down into the ground. One thing I just want to make mention again is the back heel. I noticed a lot of us still have the heel down, and some of the photos and videos I've seen of you guys practicing is the back heel tends to be dropped like this, okay? The energy kind of pouring down the backside. We want to push everything into the ground so that we rise up. If you push the ball mount of the back foot down, the back heel actually rises, okay? That's how we root. This is sinking, okay? That lets the joints hold us up, where this is pushing downward, and that encourages your muscles to hold up the joints. Okay, press your left heel down. Again, big toe, pinky toe with the front foot. Get lighter in the fingers. Squeeze in side to side from the buttock sit bone in, from the back inner thigh in, and then lengthen through the top of the head. Let's take 2 more breaths. Inhale. One more breath. Still firing up your leg muscles. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Heels up, plank pose. Inhale. Chaturanga, either on knees or all the way down. Slide the hands out wide, fingertips. Inhale, round. Softness. Pull the heart through. Inhale, lift up. And release all the way down. Okay, now please come to all fours, hands and knees. Inhale. Take your left heel up to the sky. Press the heel up to the sky until you feel your left buttock muscle firm up. Okay, keeping your left buttock muscle firmed up. Make sure you're not sagging to your right in your right hip. Lean into your left hand. Open the left hip up a little bit. As you open the left hip up a little bit, you're gonna feel your back foot kind of turns a little. You see how my thigh is turning out? So you're gonna rotate the thigh inward as you kick up to the sky, but still open the hips. So the pelvis is not closed, it's opening, but the thigh is turning in. So think about the thigh bone turning in, your foot will go out as a result, and take your right arm into a cactus shape and lift it up. 2 more breaths, kick the sky. 1 more full breath in. Now you're gonna do the opposite. Take your right hand on your knee, right hand to the left knee. The left knee is gonna push across into your right hand until you feel your hip flexors and maybe even your abdominals start to activate. So press your knee into your hand strongly. Round your back a little bit more. One more full breath. And release. All right. Exhale the breath out. Okay, let's start the other side. Take your right heel to the sky. You're going to feel your left hip sags out to the left. So squeeze it in. So your weight is in your right thumb. Then open your right hip a little bit as if you're like a dog peeing on the fire hydrant, but then turn the leg inward, opposing the opening of the hip. So those are opposite actions. The hip opens, the thigh turns in, and then kick the sky. That's going to take a lot of strength in the buttock muscles and all the muscles of the right hip joint. Okay, now keeping that, lift up a little bit in the chest. Stay strong in the buttocks and the back leg, and take the left arm up into a cactus-like shape. Let's do 3 breaths. And take your left hand to right knee. Press the knee across towards the opposite shoulder. And try to get your hip flexors to awaken. As you press your knee across the opposite shoulder, round your upper back slightly. Your right hand is still on the ground, so grip the earth and get connected to your roots. 2 more breaths of pressing the knee towards opposite shoulder, so your hip flexors and your adductors are toning of the right leg. And release the knee to the ground. On the next breath in, arch the back. Look up, exhale back into downward facing dog. Let's take 3 breaths in here. 3 breaths out. 2 more. On this inhale, activate your calf muscles and lift the heels up. Look forward. Empty your breath to hop, step, walk, whatever you wish to the front of the mat. Come up onto your fingertips and lift your toes up. Soften your knees slightly and lift the heart up using your back muscles. Squeeze the front of even I think of the ball mounds of my feet squeezing in so that I feel it all the way up at the inner thighs. Imagine you have a block between your shins or between your upper thighs and squeeze in. Not so much that you feel any strain in the knees, just enough that you feel a toning of the inner thigh muscles. Now, stick your buttocks up to the sky and press your big toe down at the same time. So butt goes up, big toe goes down. And if possible, fan your pinky toes out and press them down, just like we did last practice, okay? Lift the heart a little bit more until you come onto your tippy fingertips. Lift the heart so you get your back muscles toning. Let's squeeze the front of the shins in still. 3 more breaths in Ardha Uttanasana. Fingers are light, but we're not leaning back this way. You're leaning forward into the front of towards the big toes, okay? So your thigh bones are directly over your heel bones, just like a tabletop, not back this way. 1 more breath in. Press the back of your hamstrings away from each other as you start to bow. Let's hold here in Uttanasana, forward fold, keeping the feet active. So the big toe and big toe mound scrunch towards the heel. And I'm not like digging my toenails into the ground or anything, just trying to pull the ball mound of the feet back so the arch of the foot activates and lifts. 2 more breaths. And last breath. All right, bend the knees, place the hands to the hips, arch the upper back, and rise all the way up to stand. All right, Tadasana, arms by your sides. Let the blood come back down to your feet and take a full breath in. May we honor our body by listening to it and developing a trust by showing up on our mat to care for it. We put the body first. Inhale, reach the arms to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. To the earth bow. Uttanasana. Halfway lift, inhale. Left foot back, exhale. Place the hands on your front thigh. Come up and pause. Steer the tailbone so it angles straight back and move your right sit bone, that's your front hip, underneath a little bit to press down into the heel. Lift your toes up in the front foot to get the tibialis anterior active, and then press your big toe and pinky toe against that. So big toe and pinky toe down, 3 middle toes up to the best of your ability, okay? Holding that, the back shin squeezes in, still the back heel is lifting, and then rise up. Lift the belly, sides of the ribs. Inhale, reach the arms up. Hold here as you exhale. 2 more breaths here. Get tall, get light. Warming up the hips. Back front of your thigh, by the way, squeezes in. Back front of your thigh, so you get your adductors tone. 1 more, full breath in. Exhale to the earth, bow. Straighten the front leg on the inhale, look forward. Exhale and bow. Bend the front knee, inhale. Exhale, straighten and bow. 1 more. Exhale, straighten and bow. Bend the knee, inhale. Step to down dog. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Chaturanga, lower down. Slide the hands wide. Inhale, round the back. Soften. Peel the heart open, inhale. And release. Plank pose or all fours, inhale, your choice. Exhale, down dog. Let's take the right leg to the sky on the in-breath. Knee to chest and round your upper back. Really activate, try to get your knee to touch your chest the best you can as you lean forward. Inhale, back and up. Same thing. On the exhale, knee to chest, touch your chest, and then lean forward, round the back, and squeeze the knee into the chest. Inhale, back and up. Don't worry about your chin or your nose or whatever. Really try to touch your chest with your knee and hold it there as you round your back to come forward. Okay, inhale, back and up. Now step your right foot forward. Turn the back heel down, walk the fingertips to the inside. Hold here as you exhale. The inner thigh goes up and back, and we pull our feet toward one another to activate the adductors of the back leg here. Let's take a breath in, half lift. Bend the elbows, exhale, soften and bow. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, halfway lift. Slow and steady on the breath. Exhale, bend the elbows and bow. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and bow. Hold here, enjoy a full breath in and out. 1 more full breath in and out. Walk the hands to the front of the mat on the inhale. Lift the back heel up. Step forward and bow as you exhale. Uttanasana. Rise to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. To the heart, exhale. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale to the earth. Half lift. Right foot back, exhale. Press into the earth, rise up, hands to the front knee. Hold here as you exhale. May we put our body first, develop that trust between mind and body so there's a communication there. We show up every day on our mat to put our body first, to remember that this physical form and it is not lasting us forever. And so while we have it, may we take care of it. Your left sit bone will tend to kind of get wild out to the left. Squeeze it in and squeeze the back front of your thigh in so that your buttock bone and your thighs kind of squeeze in to make this compactness in the pelvis. From there, press your left heel down. See if you can get your big toe and pinky toe firmly rooting into the earth. So you have that real big arch of the left foot, and then rise up. Take the arms up, inhale. Look up, exhale. Let's do 2 more breaths. Inhale. Really rooting into the heel. So we get the buttock muscles active and ready. Exhale, hands to the ground. Straighten the front leg. Inhale, look forward at first. Exhale and bow. Bend front knee, inhale. Exhale, straighten and bow. Again, inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, straighten and bow. Inhale, bend knee. Down dog, exhale. Inhale, forward plank. Chaturanga. Slide hands wide, fingertips. Inhale, round the back. Softness. Pull the heart through your chest, through your shoulders. And release. Plank or all fours, inhale. Exhale, down dog. 3 breaths to enjoy the sensational experience of being in your body. Feel it. Feel what it's like to be alive. Let's take the left leg to the sky on the inhale. Knee touches your chest, round the back and roll into plank. Knee touches your chest, squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, knee touches your chest, squeeze it in, round. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, knee touches chest, round back. Squeeze it in, touch, touch, touch. Inhale, back and up. Step forward. Turn the back heel down, walk the hands inside of the left foot. And let's take a breath. Exhale it out. Okay, the back inner thigh lifts up to the sky and squeeze your feet toward each other. As you draw the legs inward, take a full breath in. Exhale, bend the elbows and bow. 2 more. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bend the elbows and bow. Inhale, half lift. And bow. Hold here. Full breath in. And out. 1 more inhale. Exhale. On the inhale, walk your hands to the front of the mat, lift the back heel up. Step forward and bow. To the sun, rise, Urdhva Hastasana. Into your heart. Inhale, reach up. To the earth, bow. Half lift. Step or hop back, your choice. Chaturanga Dandasana. Slide the hands wide around the back. Softness. Pull the chest through and up. And release. All fours or plank. Downward dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Knee touches chest, round the back, pull the knee in. Inhale, back and up. Step forward as you exhale. Rise up, inhale, high lunge. Open up, warrior two. Move your groins back, and then just pull your feet gently toward each other so you feel a rise from the inner thighs and hamstrings up through the center of the body. And take the palms out, reach out, and let's do, for the sake of just giving a nice stretch along the fascial line, you're gonna flex the, extend the wrists so that the palms pull back, or the palms face forward, the fingertips pull back towards your shoulders. Hold. 2 more breaths. Reverse warrior, flip the palms, inhale, reverse. Hold here as you exhale. 2 more. One more. Exhale, hands to the ground. Let's do this. Pivot onto the outside edge of both feet. You're gonna walk your front foot down halfway and then place your left hand on the mat. And you press your butt to the sky, less about side plank and more about trying to get the gluteus muscles here to stretch, okay? So press your buttocks up to the sky and maybe take your right hand behind your head or reach the arm over your ear if it's accessible. Press your hips to the sky and try to get a stretch out of the right buttocks. 2 more breaths. And release. Okay, you're gonna walk your feet crisscrossed, okay? Men, you'll have to adjust yourself a little bit. Inhale, lift and lengthen the heart. Keep your feet crisscrossed and bow, stretching the outer line of the leg from the buttocks, from the outer buttocks, gluteus medius minimus, all the way down, the AIT band there. Feel it in the outer hamstrings as well. Let's take 2 more breaths. One more breath. Okay, walk it back to center. Step back, plank pose, inhale. Chaturanga. Slide the hands wide, inhale round. Open it up, soften it. Pull through, rise to the degree that you're comfortable. Release. Come to all fours, hands and knees. Pause here. You take your left knee and try to get your knee to touch the chest. So what I suggest is round your back as much as you can and place your left knee on the chest as you round it, okay? And now this is gonna be very hard. You'll probably be somewhere down here. Really squeeze it in using your hip flexors. Let's do 2 more breaths. 1 more breath, squeeze it in. Now, you're gonna slowly keep the upper body full and rounded, core active, but slowly let it out. Make it hard on yourself so your upper body stays full, and then kick your heel to the sky while not collapsing. So keep your abdominals toned, round your back, and then against your rounding of your back, kick your heel to the sky. Okay, so your upper back is rounded, your heel is pushing the sky, your tailbone is actually tucking against the action of the heel reaching to the sky. Take a full breath in and release. So pause for a second while I demonstrate the difference. You can kick the heel to the sky and use your back muscles, which typically is something that I would ask you to do. But for today, I'd like you to actually activate your entire front body, your core muscles, and against that, just isolate the hamstrings and gluteus muscles back here against the rounding of the core. Now, the more you kick up, the more abdominals you'll have to activate. The more you activate your abdominals, the more you'll have to kick up so they work against each other, okay? So try it. First, we do the knee into the chest and really activate the hip flexors all the way to the abdominals. Here we go. Take a full breath in. Knee to chest. Squeeze. Try to get your knee and thigh to actually touch the chest and round your back. Again, don't let it drop down here. Use your strength. Pull it up. Okay, now, as we transition, keep the upper back rounded, fingers gripping, by the way, and start to kick the sky, but really round the upper back. Round, 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 while you, in contrast to that, reach the heel up behind you. Use your glute muscles as you round your back. Again, these are opposite actions, contrasting actions. 2 more breaths, round the back and kick the sky. Use your buttock muscles, round your back. 1 more, kick the sky as much as you can, but tuck the tail. And release, hallelujah. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Push the ground away so your weight goes up and back to your feet. Let's try to get our feet active just like we did the other day. Lift your 3 middle toes up the best of your ability and press your big toe and pinky toe down. There's a buoyancy to the ankles, so you're not trying to just like rest the ankles on the ground. That wouldn't really accomplish anything. You want to actually get a little lightness to the heels while still reaching the thighs back. So you still want to kind of reach towards the ground with the heels, but from an activation of your tibialis anterior, that's what lifting your 3 toes up in the middle will start to trigger that activation. At least by like through muscle coordination, basically. And then at the same time, you want your calf muscles resisting the tibialis anterior. The tibialis is what's going to draw the heels down. The calf muscles lift the heels up. If they're contrasting each other, you get a buoyancy, a lightness to it. Like a springfulness, that's what we're looking for. Lift the heels up, look forward. Empty the breath, hop or step lightly. I just realized I missed something entirely. It's okay, we'll get to it on the other side. Exhale and bow to the sun, rise all the way up.
And to the heart. Inhale, reach up. I'll just pretend like I meant to do that. Exhale, bow to the earth.
But you know the truth. Halfway lift on the inhale. Step or hop, chaturanga. Slide the hands wide. Inhale, round the back.
Soften the chest through the shoulders. Pull the heart through and up. And release.
All fours on the inhale. Lead with your tailbone up, downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. Left leg up, inhale. Knee to chest, round the back. Try to touch your chest. Inhale, back and up. Step left foot forward. Push down, rise. Inhale, high lunge.
Open up, warrior 2. And again, let's just stretch the forearms by pulling the fingertips back. And start to activate the extensors of the wrist here. Pull your feet gently toward each other, but press into the left heel. And feel the sensation of your breath flowing through your body. I've got a mosquito on me on 2 legs. Oh boy. Feel it now. Flip your left palm. Inhale, reverse warrior, and we'll hold here. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And release, hands to the ground.
Back heel up. Again, let's do, which one did I do first? Yeah, heel toe, heel toe. Come to the outer edge of the back foot and press the buttocks up. With the buttocks up, you try to target the stretch into the outer hips here. And maybe the arm goes up and over or behind your head. If that's a little bit of an argument between you and your shoulder, right? Listen to the shoulder. There's many ways to go about that too, by the way. Maybe going this way in front feels better. Maybe going up and over and behind. Maybe into a cactus shape and then reaching back. Multiple ways. Hips up, hips up, hips up. And then release. Okay, walk the feet over. This practice is a little bit of a segue to the next element of water, in that we're starting to target the outer hip lines, which is what we do in the water element. A lot of hip opening. But for today, it's going to be necessary in order to move into our posture. So as our legs cross, again, men, you'll have to adjust yourself a little bit there and bow forward over yourself. Let's enjoy a few breaths of experiencing the sensations of the outer hip stretching all the way down to the IT band. All right, let's use this as an opportunity to check in with our front foot. If you flex the foot and then reach the big toe to the ground first, what happens is you'll see your toes start to turn out and the foot does this like arc, and this is called everting, again, the foot, and you'll feel these fibularis muscles along the outer line activate, okay? Rather than kind of rolling the ankle here, which is inversion, you lift it up, flex, and turn the foot outward to put it down, and that's everting the ankle. The back foot is already everting from, if you're reaching your big toe across, it's already an eversion, okay? Let's try that on the other side. Just kind of wiggle leg to the back of your yoga mat and crisscross your feet, and let's just get the front foot lifted up, and then see if you can pull the outer edge of the foot towards your shin here, so you feel these muscles, the fibularis muscles, grab onto the outer edge of the foot, and as they pull, reach the big toe to the ground, and you'll see your foot kind of rotates out a little bit. Again, it's everting the ankle, something that we're going to be needing today, especially with the hip flexibility as well, that ankle articulation. Okay, come back to downward facing dog. Two more full breaths in. And out. One more. Lift the heels up on the in-breath, look forward. Empty the breath, hop or step lightly to the front. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and bow. To the sunrise, Urdhva Hastasana. And hands to the heart as you exhale. All right, so let's try to activate our hip flexors again in chair pose. So you come into chair. I'm going to suggest we crisscross right hand to left knee like so. And then in your chair pose, stick your bum up just a little bit, okay, just so we get our buttock muscles fired up. And then press the knee up into the opposite shoulder until you feel your deep core line all the way through your groin muscle activate. Evert the foot of the left ankle. So watch my foot. Okay, that's everting the foot. So you turn it out like that. Not turning the thigh out, turning the ankle joint out. Okay, as I evert the foot, push up and across to my opposite shoulder, getting the hip flexors to tone. Okay, and then come back to center. Pulse a little, get your buttock muscles awake again. And opposite hand, opposite knee. Evert the foot and then push the knee up towards opposite shoulder. So you really feel deep core line up through to the hip flexors activate. By deep core, I mean psoas. Two more. How's the foot? And release. All right, so those are the hip flexors. Beautiful. Okay, now we're going to try to do some little exercise here to get the buttocks toned, as if we haven't done enough of that in the last few weeks. Let's just keep going. But it's a little tricky. It's going to be a bit different. Okay, so maybe just watch me one time. I'll place my hands in chair pose on the knee, and I'm going to actually round the back significantly, and then I'm going to try to reach the heel to the sky with the upper back full. Okay, and then maybe I kick the leg straight back, trying to keep my upper back full and the leg high up. Okay, if not, I keep the knee bent and kick the sky here. It's a lot easier. And then I come down, just watch the other side since I have another angle. Round the upper back. Try to use the hinge of the hip joint and activate the gluteus muscles here against the tightness of the front body. If you can, keep the buttocks active and then kick straight back. Now, when you do that, you'll tend to open the pelvis and turn the thigh out like so. Can you keep the thigh inward, but the foot everted maybe? Oops, sorry, around the back. All right, so let's try it. Unfortunately, I have to do it again with you. Let's do it. Woo, here we go. Glad that you got a break. Bend the knees. Place the hands to the left thigh. Let's take a breath in. Round the upper back. And bend the right knee and press the heel to the sky. Now, again, it's going to be easy to kind of fall into an arched position, a back bend. Don't do that. Round the upper back and then kick the sky, activating your glute muscles. Keep the glutes active, kicking the inner heel, the inner back heel to the sky. Okay, now rounding the back and see if you can keep your back knee up high as you kick out without losing the rounding of the upper back specifically. Kick out and up with the back leg. You can evert the back foot, the toes will turn out, but turn the back thigh inward. And then release. I'm wondering if that makes sense to you. So you can turn the thigh bone inward, but if you evert the foot, the toes turn out. But if you look at my thigh, it's still in, right? It's still neutral at least. Whereas turning the thigh out and the foot in is what most of us do. We turn the foot in, thinking that that's going to be turning the thigh in. We want to turn the thigh bone in from the hip muscles and then the foot out. That's a different coordinated effort. Usually opposes our natural, not natural, but our patterned behavior in our physical body. So we develop strength. Body loves to develop strength. The mind and the ego hate it, but the body loves it. Okay, so other side. The mind and ego, really the ego likes to stretch because it's an easy way to see external results. Strength, not very fast, especially in the practice of yoga. Okay, round the upper back. Press the heel up to the sky. Keep the upper back full. As you keep the upper back full, press the heel up and see if maybe you can keep the back of the leg high. Evert, play around with your ankle joint. Maybe do an ankle roll so you can feel all directions. Then evert the foot. That means the sole of the foot turns out, the toes turn out, but turn the thigh bone inward as you kick back and up. Round the back. Okie dokie. Brilliance. All right, so today you can grab your block if you've got it still from the last practice, and we can start with our pigeon pose. If you don't have block, no big deal. Actually, either way is fine. But we're gonna do a quick pigeon pose and just place the shin across the block and play around with everting the foot. That means if you can actually put the block right up against your ankle so your foot can actually squeeze into the block. I'm going to turn around just so you can see what that looks like. So I put the block against the ankle, and then I'm going to try to get my pinky toe, this bottom toe, to touch the block, which is going to be really hard. Okay. And then I move my hips backwards here, and you can stay up today. There's no need to go down. We're not cooling down. And the back thigh bone will tend to kind of roll out. You're going to turn the back thigh in and pull this knee down and back towards the back knee, and the back knee forward towards the front knee. So the two knees press down and pull toward one another as the front foot everts. So let's try it. Do it with me. If you're not, come onto your, place your block underneath your shin if you've got it. Great. If not, if you don't have a block, no big deal. I'll show you what you can do. Is you point the foot and you work the articulation of the ankle the same way. You slide a hand under your foot to make sure that there's space, and that will be your fibularis muscles activating. Okay. Press your two knees down and toward one another. The back knee pulling towards the front knee is your hip flexors and your psoas. Your front knee pressing down and back is your glute muscles, your hamstrings. Turn the back thigh bone inward. Evert the front foot.
2 more breaths. Okay, and release. Good news. We've got 2 sides of our body. That's great news. So let's do the other side. Same thing.
Place the shin across right at the ankle joint and pull the pinky toe down into the block. The back thigh moves back. That deepens the stretch. Keep pulling the foot into the block and then press your knees down and toward one another until you feel your glutes of the front hip active and the hip flexors of the back leg active. My back toes are tucked still, by the way. Firming up the muscles of the thighs, of the backs of the legs, and back of the front leg and hamstrings, the outer buttocks, the gluteus muscles. The back leg, it's the hip flexors, the adductors. Okay, and release.
All right, so it's time to give away what the peak pose is, because what we're about to do is really not sexy on the outside, but whatsoever. So the ego will hate it, but the physical body is going to really appreciate the development of strength. Might be hard for it, but it's going to appreciate it. So flying pigeon, there's 2 variations, and one I think I taught all the way back in March, which is the knee into the chest. So not doing it just yet, but I just want to show you that essentially a couple of things that we need is the articulation of this ankle joint. So watch this ankle. See how it clamps on the arm? Now that's what keeps the leg from sliding off the arm, okay? Is that clamping action. That clamping action is the activation of both tibialis anterior and the fibularis muscles. Bam. Now the other thing that we need for the first variation is the hip flexors of the back leg. So watch. So if I come in here and I don't use my hip flexors, this leg hangs down. But if I use the hip flexors, it speaks to the core and pulls everything in tight. Now I know we have multiple levels here today. What we're going to do something important, which is break down the 2 different postures. And that is, if you were to extend the back leg, which is what you did here, and you felt how challenging that was to keep the upper back rounded as you kicked back. Okay, if you were to extend the leg in flying pigeon, then what you need to do is be able to keep the core toned while activating the back buttock muscles. So rather than just haphazardly just jumping in and seeing if we can do it, let's see if our muscles are ready for it. So we go onto our back. This is always super humbling. Hope you're ready to be humbled. The ego, that is. The body is already humble. Our ego hates these things. Oh, I don't want to see. Get your ego on board with healing, developing strength, and finding out where our weak points are. If your ego starts getting on board with that, it'll start to help our connection to our body. Finding out our weak points so we can get stronger. So let's just pump the leg for a couple of moments just to prime the hip joint in half happy baby. Okay, now here's where it's very humbling. You take the leg across and you use your hip flexors of this leg here to pull the leg as tight in as possible. Now, that's both the strength of the hip flexors against the tightness of the buttocks here. So that's one thing that's going to help you out, at least to kind of decipher if you're ready for this. The second thing is using your abdominal muscles. Remember, I kept saying round the back while you try to kick the leg back. Here's where you round the back. Okay, so pull the leg in as tight as you can, and then round the back and come on up into the supine version of flying pigeon with the knee into the chest. Okay? Kind of like having a block behind the head for this too. So you can press the head back into the block to really simulate that, but still use your core muscles. Okay, and then release. We try the other side.
Now, if you're just, here in the pose, there's nothing wrong with it. Just know that you've got a lot of just time in developing strength of the hip flexors and abdominals to bring this tight and close against the tightness of the hip of the upper leg. Now, I'm always a fan of working strength instead of flexibility because flexibility is a real fast way to get injured, whereas strength develops flexibility through range of motion, okay? And so your body will open up in the appropriate amount of time if you're working strength through range of motion. So I don't mean just like, short little reps of heavy weights, that's not the kind of strength I'm talking about. I'm talking about our muscles' ability to move through full range of motion. That's the kind of strength we're after, okay? So here we go on the other side. I'm going to show you the foot, by the way. Okay, so if you bring this in, I'm just doing this so I can show you. And then you can clamp the foot around the arm, pinky toe edge of the foot. That's your everting muscles. And you come in nice and tight. Okay, here you are. Pull the left knee into your chest as tight as you can. Use your core muscles here. And then release. All right, you ready for it? Now this is the full variation, probably a block behind the head is good. The full variation of this pose becomes infinitely more challenging. You'll see why it's so hard. It's not just the balance and it's not just that it's an arm balance. This pose, flying pigeon, and the full expression of it is quite difficult. Ready for it? I'm going to show it one time. Clamp the leg. Here I am. I round the back enough and I try to kick the leg out without losing the leg that's on the arm. I'm going to show you that on the other side, okay? Because that's where you're going to feel it slip off in like moments. So you get in tight and then wrap this foot as tight as you can. You do a sit up the best of your ability. Woo! Abdominals. Your turn. Okay, so get your ankle around or wrap in tight. Okay, get the armpit over. Flex the foot and pull the pinky toe into the arm so your leg is not going anywhere. Okay, and then pull your arms into your chest as tight as you can. So you're forming a clamp between the shin and the armpit. Now, trying to extend. I like to do a sit-up so that you can really feel the core muscles there against the extension of the leg. Okay? Try the other side if you haven't already. I've already done both sides several times, so I'm going to let you go. And when you're done, come and lay on your back and let's just... oftentimes that strengthens the front neck muscles, which is a good thing, but we also want to strengthen the back neck muscles. So press the back of your head into the ground and activate the back neck muscles here just to reverse that. 3 breaths. One more breath. Okay. Now let's warm up our hip muscles a little bit more and reverse so we get our back muscles and booty muscles active. And take robot arms. Press the shoulder heads into the ground. That's the kind of the opposite of what we'll be doing soon. And then press your heels down. Inhale, lift the hips up. Press the hips to the sky using your buttock muscles. Exhale, soften and release. Again, press the heels down, reach up with the hips. Exhale, release. 3 more. Inhale, press the heels down. Soften. 2 more. Last one. And release. All right, cross the ankles, come up to a seated position. and step back downward facing dog. We got one more prep pose. Make sure we're really ready for this. Take your right shin across the mat. Okay. You'll love this one. Tuck your back toes, turn your back thigh in, and move the hips back. Press your front shin and knee down so your hips lift up. Now, this is one of the key actions of flying pigeons, is that we have our front buttocks, instead of collapsing, which would bring us down in the pose, we have to press down and rise up, enough so that your hips lift up off the ground and that you can lift your arms up. Maybe take the hands to the sky with your hips buoyant and light. Remember the back heel being buoyant and light in down dog? Can you do that with your hips in pigeon pose? Buoyant and light. Okay, and then release. Okay, and then move everything back a little bit. Let's do a hip stretch. A few breaths here while we got it. Off to the left side is nice. Alrighty then, coming on out. We got the other side. Simply take the left shin across the mat. Move the right knee back. All right, and then pull your two knees toward each other and press your front shin down. I have my front ankle bone lifted, so I'm everting the ankle, and start to activate the hip muscles enough that you can feel buoyant and light, free, strong from the hips down, free from the upper body up, so that you can take the arms up. Strong. Pull the back knee forward, press the front shin down, front ankle bone up. You just start to find out how much strength is required of the front hip. All right, and then come on down. Off to the right side. Just give yourself an extra hip stretch before we go into the full variation. All right, coming on up. Let's go for it. Here we go. Just what you were waiting for, right? Okay, so my recommendation is you've got a couch cushion in front of you, especially if you're newer to the pose, first couple of years or so, trying this pose out. Bang! This is a beautiful way of doing it. You've got something in front of your face to keep you safe. Not that you want to land on that ever, but it's just a little bit of a tip. One thing you could do, for those of you that want to try something, you feel confident in balancing on one foot, is you can place your foot on the block. It actually makes it somewhat easier flexibility-wise. So just watch me the first round. I'll do it once without a block and once with, okay? So I take the ankle of the knee, and I come on down here as deep as I can go. And then the idea here is this foot clamps onto the arm, and then I lift my butt up to get my other shoulder, my other knee into the armpit. I'll show that on the other side in a moment, so just pay attention to this side. Whoop. And then I kind of lean forward, and then here's where the hip flexors matter. The bottom knee pulls in, my front shin pushes down. There we go. And that's the pose. So my bottom knee is pulling in, and my front shin is pushing down in order for the body to rise up. Otherwise, I'll just get heavy and I'll sink. And you'll see that. I'm going to show you multiple angles. The block may or may not be easier or harder, depending on your patterns and whatnot, where your strengths and flexibilities lie. Sometimes it is easier. But if you don't use a block, you have to crawl your hands further forward, and I'll show that in a second. So let me show you on the other side before you get into this. First thing is I need this arm to get over. Right now, I'm not anywhere near the armpit, right? So what I have to do is I'm going to drop this knee down a little bit. So I drop the left hip down a little bit like this. And if I do that, it allows me to get my armpit right up into the ankle joint. Whoop. And then I clamp the toe, the pinky toe that is, the everting muscles, get the pinky toe there. Then, watch my left hip, it then goes back up into the armpit. Now, without the block, you have to keep all of that connected while simultaneously tippy toe, and then lean forward into the gripping of your fingers into the ground. Then you have to push your shin down and squeeze your knee in. And there it is. Someone's calling me. We'll shut that up right away. Thank you, spam. Nobody cares. Apologize about that. Oh, gotta turn my YouTube back on. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so shin across knee, and shin presses down, knee squeezes in. Let's try that variation first. Make sure you get both sides, and then after that, I'll show you maybe how to extend the back leg. Okay, so you get your right ankle over your knee, or your left, whichever one you're on, and drop the knee down to get the ankle up into the armpit. Hook the foot as much as you can. Then get the other knee into the armpit as high as you can go so you don't damage or bruise your tricep muscles. Higher up is easier. Then you gotta walk everything forward, lean forward and grip into the ground. Then push the shin down and squeeze the knee in. Okay, after you've tried the right side and you feel confident or humbled, one or the other, try the left side. So again, the idea, you want to get the first thing is the armpit and ankle in, and then wrap the pinky toe around the arm, and you get up as high as the armpit as you can. Of course, that requires flexibility. So that could be today, it could be today and 3 years from now. Don't worry about if it's happening, just work towards it, okay? Then the other knee goes up into the armpit, and then you start to walk your hands forward, trying to keep the shin there. Remember, the key is the front shin presses down and your hips will rise up as a result. The back knee squeezes in, it'll keep the arm, keep the leg on the arm really tight. Okay. Take a breather while I show you the next step. So not everybody's going to do this, but it's just it's good to have the information if you're ready for it, okay? This you'll probably really need a nice bolster for in front, and this is flying pigeon with the back leg extended. Now, what most people do is they start extending the back leg back, and then they fall back because they haven't leaned forward. So in the beginning, I was talking about really gripping your fingers into the ground. These activate these flexors of the wrist that actually allow us to stabilize the wrist joint, which stops us from falling forward when we lean. So it's like your fingers are the brakes. So you do need to lean forward as you extend the back leg back and up. One last tidbit I'm going to give you, a tip here, is to keep the back knee bent rather than straightening it back. Kick the heel to the sky with a bent knee. So let me show you what that looks like, whether it's for today or the future, okay? So you can take the ankle here, you do the same actions, whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, then you lean forward. Here you go. Now, I lean forward a little bit more and kick the sky before I straighten the leg. Here, okay? And you might sustain kicking the sky with just a bent knee for a while because it doesn't require as much lean forward, as much risk, and as much strength, okay? So give it a shot on the right side, right? And otherwise you can chill with me as we wait for everybody to try it out. Okay, so those of you trying it on the right side, right ankle to the armpit, knee into the armpit, lean forward, make sure you've got your cushion there, and then tippy toe your hands forward, 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 and now you need to really activate your glutes. Press the shin down into your arm until your hips lift up. Then just play with the idea of kicking the back leg to the sky with a bent knee. And maybe you just come down and you say, we'll save it for a rainy day, or maybe you get it. And then finally, you could extend the leg, eventually extend the knee joint. Okay, I'll show you again, give you another visual just so you can pick up, now that you've tried a little bit, pick up on some more nuances that are happening. The step-by-step, there are a lot of steps and a lot of things to be aware of in order to do this posture. And that's why we do poses. Let me remind you of that, because the posture highlights where we have room to develop in our physical form, not because the posture feeds our ego. Now, let's be real, the ego loves that. But that's why we have to, it's okay. The ego loves that. Okay, I understand it. It feels proud of itself, whatever. Cool. Thank you, ego. And, we can use that so long as we're putting our body first. If we put our body first, then we can also celebrate, and get joyful. Because then the result, the like expression that we get from the result feels so good because it's not out of trying to fulfill some void. It's out of trying to enjoy the experience of being human. It's very different. The celebration is still on the outside that you maybe achieve the pose, but the reason for the celebration is different because you connected to your body, not because you attained a shape. Okay, so I'm going to show the left side one more time. I get this ankle up, whoop, clamp, whoop, knee up, get up there. Okay, now I lean forward, grip the fingers, and then I activate my glutes. I'm a little bit untight, so here we go. I activate my glutes to press down, lift up, and that's what kicks the sky. Again, the press down, the glute muscles, the more you fire them up, the easier the pose will be. The more you press your shin down. Now, a lot of us are not used to that action because we don't do it in pigeon pose. We sink in our pigeon pose every time, so we don't activate our glutes. Okay, so try it on the other side if you're trying it. You could also try the knee into the chest too if you want to do something instead of, sit around and wait and breathe. All right, so nothing wrong with waiting and breathing. The shin, first the ankle goes over the armpit, clamp the pinky toe. And then the knee draws up into the armpit. And then you got to walk your hands forward, lean in and grip the ground like mad. Round your upper back, gain the power of the core, and press your front shin down into your arms so your hips lift up. And then the back heel kicks up to the sky, activating the glutes, and maybe then you can extend the legs slowly at the knee joint. Now you might get a 5-second hold perhaps, and then you come down and that's okay. All right, everyone, I'm sure at this point we've achieved. I'm going to throw my couch cushion out of the way. It's not a couch cushion, it's a meditation cushion, but I'm just pretending because you probably have one. Let's come onto our backs, unwind a little bit. Half happy baby on the left side. Maybe you extend the right leg, maybe you keep it bent. And switch sides when you're ready. Start to let the breath settle. Muscles around the face release. And release that. Shift the hips to the right. Supine twist.
Back to center. Let me twist to the other side. Any variation of the twist. Center. Happy baby pose or knees into the chest, something even. And release. Let's take a full breath in. Exhale it out. Listen to your body through its communication, which is sensation. Feel the sensational experience of being in this physical form. Feel the vibration of your energy. Listen to the body and build the trust. Build the bond. breath. And the sensations of your body. Fingers and toes gently awaken with care. Ankles and wrists. Stretch the arms. And roll to your side. Take a moment to let the body ground. And come up to a seated position. Place the palms at the heart. And acknowledge yourself for taking the time to build the conversation between you and the body. To merge the two as one through listening, through allowing the body to speak, listening to the sensations of it, and taking care of it with concern. That every step we take is for it, every time we step onto this yoga mat. Thank you for loving your body today and developing a connection to the root chakra for past few practices. May we stay rooted as we move forward in our practices. Namaste. Thank you all so very much. Such a pleasure to have you here to share with you. I don't think I have many announcements. Thank you for those of you that are sharing in the Facebook group. I'd love to hear about your experiences. Love to see the videos, the photos, any sort of reflections that you post there. Really fun for me to have that interaction with you. So thank you. And of course, you can post on social media and I'll repost if you tag me in it. If anybody is interested in going further and doing a 200-hour training or a 300-hour training, always feel free to reach out. Those are ongoing right now, and Yoga Alliance has extended the online training time limits, so we have some more time to get those in. If you're interested, let me know. We do have a time limit for those to be finished. So, and then no more online teacher trainings after that. So if you're interested in 200 or the 300-hour, right now is okay. You can jump in. We just started the 300-hour training and be happy to add you to it. Otherwise, we'll talk about the next time to jump in. All right. Bye, everybody.